creep while you and me repeat. This bittersweet heat is suffocating. I'm waiting and always hesitating. Kryptonite desires set my heart afire.
Men, women, lizards, and embers, welcome to Burning Questions, the show where we dive deep into people's lore and get the juicy questions no one ever thinks about. For today's guest, we have the big green chomper machine, Thorntail. So, Thorntail, would you tell us something about your lore?
Yeah. So, my name is Thorntail. I'm a shaman from the Dark Swamp, although amongst our people we call it the Thorntail Swamp. The swamp is not named after me. I am kind of named after the swamp, but maybe we'll get to that later. But yes, I am a Lizardmen shaman. My species of Lizardmen is we specialize in illusion magic. I personally have some necromantic magic, and there are a bunch of different tribes of Lizardmen in the world, a bunch of different subspecies of lizard men in the world, of which my tribe is probably the most magically inclined.
Okay, I see. Well, have you well that's good to know that you're a lizard man who's a shaman. What kinds of stuff can you do with your magic? That's illusionary if I recall.
Yep. So with illusion magic, I can. Well, for example, the big thing is my green scales. My natural colored scales of actually my whole subspecies of lizardmen is gray.
Oh,
But
I see.
it's kind of a tradition in our tribes that the shamans show off our illusionary expertise by changing the colors of our scales into something more bright and vibrant, and I guess you could kind of say unnatural. So
Mm-hmm.
in our swamp, there's a whole lot of purples and grays and all kinds of colors like that, and our scales themselves are gray. So choosing green is actually a bit of a not normal. It's a little bit vibrant, a little bit out there. Some of the other lizard men are like some of their shamans. Like one of them I know, one I know, they do tiger
Yeah.
stripes, orange and black
Tiger
tiger stripes. Seriously.
a
Yep.
tiger striped lizard. That sounds interesting.
Yep.
Is
Yep.
there
Yep.
like
Yep.
one
Yep.
that's potentially rainbow colored?
Potentially none currently that I know of are rainbow colored, but yes, that is absolutely 100% possible.
If they really want to flex, they can be like how some humans like to put RGBs on their on their PCs. There's an
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
RGB lizards walking around.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, it's basically a show of our expertise to make ourselves more vibrant. But Uh, for myself in particular, my illusionary talents are not restricted just to myself. I can create alternate shapes for myself. I can do quite a bit more. I could, I don't know if I want to give away all my secrets, but yeah, I could alter quite a bit of things. Let's just say that if I really push hard enough, I can kind of probably make the whole concept of reality an illusion.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, considering a lot of viewers probably have seen some Marvel movies, they could probably be straight up like the reality stone, maybe just
Yeah, a little.
conjuring a whole area up.
Yep. I also have a little bit of expertise with necromancy, which I acquired via, the way that you would acquire a necromancy. Also, all shamans of all lizard men, kind of as a basic training as we're getting started, we have a little bit of kind of shamanic magic, kind of, like controlling some simple plant life, contacting the ancestors. Although, if I'm going to be honest, I'm not very good at that stuff. That's not my specialty.
Okay, that's fair. There are some how should I say creatures out there that don't want to talk to their ancestors, considering those ancestors may not be one of the brightest of people.
Oh, well, you got some of that bad ancestors in your background there. You got a couple dim bulbs.
Yeah, pretty much. Like some of them try to some of them are pretty much the reason why demons are demonized.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, that's just a thing why people don't really want to talk to their ancestors and just want to look out for number one, look out for themselves and all that.
Yeah. Like in some of the other subspecies of lizardmen, they have a lot more focus on the shamanic aspects. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, the fact is, I don't know if I'm even saying shamanic right. I think I am. But
It's
yeah,
probably correct.
but yeah, a lot of the other subspecies have that. Like, there's a desert subspecies. There's another swamp subspecies, which honestly looks a bit like this with green scales. They have darker green scales, a little bit more alligator-ish type snouts.
Okay, I see.
We've got jungle lizardmen down in the south that look a little bit more like geckos. And the most
Ooh.
common amongst you like that?
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Oh, I see. You got a gecko kink. That's cool. But then there's also forest lizardmen, and those are the ones that most humans would be familiar with. Those are the ones that they tend to explore and become actual adventurers in the world.
Oh,
And
okay.
they,
So like, what do they look like?
so okay. So I've seen this book that humans have on Earth. It's called Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know. Have you ever heard of this?
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Okay, so in there, there's some pictures of lizardmen, and they have like this big crest on their head. That's basically what forest lizardmen look like.
A big crest.
They're lizardmen with a big crest on their heads. They don't have the big, heavy kind of scales like they do, like I have on my head, like I have.
Yeah,
They are a little bit more smooth with the big old crest.
Okay, I recall now what you're talking about. Yeah, actually, that's very similar to how one of the viewers, I mean, one of the guests on the show was earlier. Jakela, she's from episode 2, which the people on chat should probably check out. Well,
Yeah, check it out.
well, anyway, I think that's probably enough for the lore. We can go with the questions that some people don't really look out for. So let's start off with the first question. Can you tell me more about the Blacktail tribe, such as what does the systems of governance look like? From what I gather, it's tribalistic, which means that you guys have a chieftain or a high priest. Then. So how do they choose like their leaders, and if this is actually the system going on?
So that's actually an interesting question because the Blacktail tribe is actually different from all the other tribes. So first of all, let me tell you, you're basically on the right path for the way that most of the kind of leadership works for lizardmen tribes.
Mhm.
Generally, there's a chieftain, and the chieftain usually accomplishes his role via combat and such. And then there's a number of shamans that act as advisors for the chieftain. That's how it normally goes.
Okay, I see.
However, in the Blacktail tribe, it's tradition that the head shaman acts as the chieftain.
Okay.
So I'm the head shaman, by the way. Hi, nice to meet you.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. That's probably due to your history with your magic affinity, right?
Correct. Honestly, I mean, we haven't actually had like any kind of like fights or anything because we don't really fight each other. But if I had to guess, I would guess I'm probably got the strongest illusion magic in the swamp of all the various shamans. Maybe it's just my ego talking, but personally, I think I do. But yes, that is a little bit different than the other tribes' governance. The Blacktail tribe is led by a chief shaman, and that's the way it's always been. It's not like they just made that rule for me or anything.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. Now, normally there would be some secondary shamans who kind of act as my advisors, but honestly, our tribe hasn't had any more shamans born in a while, so I am the only shaman. I'm the head shaman and only shaman of our tribe.
So technically speaking, you are the best shaman in the tribe.
I'm the best shaman in the tribe. I'm, in my opinion, probably the best shaman in the entire swamp. There's a total of 6 tribes of our subspecies in this swamp. Okay. And as far as I know, our subspecies doesn't appear outside of the dark swamp.
Okay, that makes sense. That's the species that looks more like what you look right now, the lizard-ish looking, right? Right?
Yeah.
With like the scales on top.
Yeah. Yep, we have gray scales across the entire tribe. Our natural eye color is more of kind of I guess you could say like a bluish teal. But again, okay. I made my eyes yellow because I wanted me to stand out as a shaman. It's part of my job as a shaman to stand out.
I see. there is like some history in my world where we had some lizards, but they were more animalistic, not really humanoid like what you are. They're just the classic salamanders, like the fire lizards. I've heard stories of them, but I've seen some of them, but the only ones I've seen were like the equivalent of a small dog in like Earth standards. I've heard
Yeah,
of some that are like dragon sized.
Oh wow. Yeah, I've heard of salamanders in our world. There's none in the swamp because fire lizard swamp probably don't go well
Yeah.
together. But I have heard that they exist in the mountains. I personally have never seen one. I've never actually gone into the mountains myself.
I'm assuming probably one of my other like one of my people probably just said brought their pet there and kind of forgot about it. Maybe.
It's definitely possible. We do have some kind of teleportation magic that I've seen used from time to time.
It's hella weird at some points, but anyway. Well, on the bright side, at least we know that you're the leader, right? Like you speak for your
Yes.
tribe. Like what
I do speak for my tribe.
What does being a leader entail? Like what have you done specifically to your tribe?
Oh, okay. So this is where it gets a little bit awkward, because I spend most of my time on the internet and playing video games and doing VTuber stuff, and I really don't spend as much time with my tribe as I probably should. So yeah, some of the elders actually take care of most of the actual, boring responsibilities, while I f off and go play video games.
Funny enough, that sounds exactly like how Nausea does her things. Nausea, for the viewers who have not seen that Waifu's Weekly episode, I had a Waifu's Weekly episode about 1.5 months ago now, probably, or if not more, wherein I had a goblin on the show, and from how she told me about
Goblins taste great.
What? Okay,
What?
I'm glad she's not here. But
What? You've never had goblin?
no.
What? Oh, okay. Well, don't worry. Maybe after this, well, I can hook you up. We'll go find one.
We'll talk about it.
All right, sounds good.
But she explained to me how she runs her her goblin cave by basically not running it and just letting like democracy like just take its place. Just let
Not
the
democracy.
people do their thing and she does her own VTuber thing.
Yeah, no, we don't have democracy amongst the Lizardmen. I heard that that's a human thing. There's a nation. Well, I call it a nation, but it's not really a nation. It's more like a series of city-states to the east, like way east, past the elves, and they have some kind of democratic system. But we don't do that in the Lizardmen tribes.
Right.
We don't. Survival of the strongest, baby. Let's go.
Ah, okay. So like primal tribal instincts. That's fine. That
Yep.
makes sense considering
Yep.
you're in the swamp.
Yep. You prove your leadership by earning it.
Well, in your case, by literally having powers over the others. So that makes sense.
Oh yeah. I have a few events in my past that make the others respect me a little bit more, even if I'm playing video games most of the time. So it's all good.
Just yeet someone out with magic somehow.
Well, using illusion magic, a lot of people underestimate illusion magic. Like, for example, say there's somebody you don't like, you could just make the trees around them invisible, so they just start walking into trees. And that's great comedy. That is great comedy.
Well,
into invisible trees.
It works very well. Just like turn a tree invisible while they're running at full speed.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so there's this one time I saw. It wasn't me. It was another shaman. But they found a T-Rex, and they made it look like a bunny.
Oh no!
And so yeah, it was great. It was great. Okay, so they then led this bunny to the mountains where they were fighting some goblins.
Sure.
They're not worried about a bunny. They're not worried about that. They see a bunny coming, they're all like, hey, and they start stabbing it. And then the illusion fades off and realize that they just stabbed its small toe.
Oh, It's gotta hurt. Just seeing like the size of that thing after. Oh lord, that just sounds hilarious. That just sounds hilarious.
They're-
Sorry, you're cutting out.
Yeah. I was just saying, I was cutting out.
Oh, okay.
Alright,
Okay,
I think
cool.
should be good now.
Yeah. I think yeah, it's working. It's working good right now. The swamp
cool.
to the firewall connection isn't great. Same with the ones. Same with the ones with the
Water.
Starlight's world.
Yeah, water to fire. Imagine that. Doesn't work well, folks.
I wonder why.
But yeah, illusion magic. A lot of people underrate illusion magic. They don't get creative enough with it. You can do some fun stuff with illusions. You're like, hey, guess what? That bridge you're about to walk over, that's not actually there. Good luck.
Oh, good. So you're just like following the ways of that one old god in like the northern parts of Terra. The what's his name again? Loki. Just screwing up other people who has less magic than you, basically.
Yup. Yeah. So yeah, gotta respect illusion magic.
Well, people underrate illusion magic generally. The people in my world, most of us don't even use our fire magic that often anymore. We only use it for like, well, pranks and also powering our technology, but that's about it. The ways of old is being used at some places, like casting a fireball, but it's not very common anymore. It's still being used, but rarely.
Oh, magic is very common in my world. In fact, the magic stones that are found in the Dark Swamp are one of the most valuable resources in the world, to my understanding. We always have people bringing us like pigs and all kinds of stuff to trade for them.
Oh, interesting.
Apparently they. I mean, I know for a fact that they enhance people's magic. I use some myself, but yeah, they're a hot commodity around the world. So yeah, we accept only the very best food for those mana stones. I heard that they sell for like hundreds of gold pieces, but I don't even know what the hell you're supposed to do with gold. What the hell, man?
Yeah,
Get yourself
trade
yourself some
isn't
food.
that great in like a society where people just take what they want if they're stronger, kind of thing, huh?
Nope.
Okay, well, let's move on to the next question, which I suppose you've already answered, which is, how are the leaders chosen? Oh, how about the other leaders in other places? If you're chosen due to your magic affinity, are other chieftains like in the tribe that isn't, well, your tribe, are they chosen through other means? Besides, well, yeah.
Yes, generally it's going to be the strongest hunter or warrior in the tribe is going to be the leader. And some cases, like for example, the Dragon's Eye tribe, the leader of that tribe, his name is Red Eye, and he became a famous adventurer in the human lands. And so when he returned to his tribe and essentially, brought a whole shit ton of respect to his tribe, that's why he was promoted leader. But some others, they've had to fight for it. It kind of depends from tribe to tribe. For example, the Stoneclaw tribe, which is to the west, their previous tribal leader was wiped out and in a goblin raid, and basically the chieftain's daughter inherited the position, but it's not like she inherited it because of just her ancestry. She inherited it because she saved a lot of the Lizardmen during the battle, and so she kind of earned their respect and became chieftain that way.
Okay,
so
it's
generally
from
you need to be
heroics.
awesome. Yeah, heroics are a good way to become chieftain. Heroics, strongness, strength, leadership.
I suppose that makes sense to a certain extent, because I've heard of like places like in the olden days of the Fire World where after like the big king or leader, it's actually like hard to tell like what gender the leader was. After they've left, there was like a series of fractures, and my people who decided to like who are really far away from the capital decided to just start the city basically. And it started off like what you said, like tribalistic, wherein the strongest is the leader, but then we realized that the strongest guy is an idiot. So we kind of just
Okay,
threw that
yeah,
out
that's
the
gonna be a
window.
problem.
So we just threw that out the window and just went with whoever has like the best ideas of how to run this place. And apparently right now that's what happened to our city. We are now the most technologically advanced part of the fire world. Thing
Wow.
is that we are a minority, so the parts on the other side of the fire world, they are basically the cliche things you see from how should I say this, from Terran media. When somebody says the fire world, or well, hell, as like
Yep,
some
yep,
other
yep,
people
yep.
put it, they think of demons, and that's kind of that part of that world. But the place where I live, it's pretty advanced. We have air conditioning for one thing, so no more heating up during the summer.
Okay, yeah. Uh, I've read about air conditioning and seen about it online, but I don't know much about it. We don't really do anything like that with the swamp.
That makes sense because the swamp can does you guys have a lot of moisture and shade, and you're kind of used to it. My people, we like comfort. We like air conditioning.
Wait. Your fire people like air conditioning?
Okay,
What?
okay. Here's the thing. We are fire
What?
people. We have higher resistance against fire, but that doesn't mean it's not comfortable. We still prefer we still have preferred like the some of us at least prefer the cold. Others are more used to the heat already. I hate the fire world because of this reason. It's hot, and that makes sense. But I don't like the heat. I want somewhere cold. That's why I kind of like want to move to Terra now. Just like some of the colder parts of Terra. I was thinking like maybe the Frost world, but then I heard that's filled with nothing. Nothing
Oh,
grows there. There's nothing. They have no interpretations. There's no tech there. So I'm just gonna go to Terra, where at least there's there's actually stuff built on the frozen places. What are these cold places?
all right. So you're gonna become. I think they call it Canadia. I think that's
Yeah,
Canadia. I think
yeah,
it's
yeah,
called,
yeah.
right?
I think that's one of the places I have looked online that I actually want to go to. Like just move there because I heard that Canada is cold most of the time, but they also have technology there that I can actually utilize that isn't like too low tech compared to some other places. So it's probably the
Gotcha.
best place to go to. So yeah, we
Gotcha.
just
Yeah.
we just kicked out the dumb people from our tribe, the dumb strong people from our tribe, and just moved on to the actual ones who can lead.
Well, fortunately, we have the shamans to act as advisors, so if there is any dumb warrior, they can just the shamans can take care of it.
just nope them out with magic.
Yep. It's happened before.
You have any stories where you've seen this happen?
Not in particular. I have not.
Okay,
I'm
fair
trying to
enough.
think. Have there been any? I mean, there's a chieftain who's kind of missing, I guess you could say. No, I don't know. Missing's the correct word. Basically, he just kind of wanders off, and nobody really knows where he is. So his shamans are kind of possibly looking for replacement. But hey, that's a rumor. Don't tell anybody.
Okay, okay, fair
Don't tell.
enough.
That's not
Fair
me.
enough.
It's not me, by the way. It's not me. Yeah. Keep
That,
those
that,
rumors on the down low. Don't tell anybody.
that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so anyway, let's move on to the next question, which is, what does the trade sector of your tribe do? Does your tribe export certain goods to other lizardmen tribes or human kingdoms, perhaps, or whatever other species there is? Do you do some
Oh,
kind of trade agreement?
Oh yes, the mana stones that I mentioned earlier. They are by far our biggest export. Um, we export them to the elves. We export them to humans, and not all the lizardmen tribes are in parts of the swamp that have access to the mana stones.
Okay.
So we export them to the other tribes, and then they proceed to export them. Like the Bronzetail tribe, they trade with the dwarves, for example. But the
Okay.
Bronzetail tribe themselves do not have access to mana stones, so we trade the mana stones to them. They trade them to the dwarves for apparently bronze goods, because apparently, whatever, weird metal.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the metal myself, but yeah. So mana stones. Mana stones are. Hey, would you like to know how mana stones, where they come from?
I actually have a question for that later, so we could probably hold it off until the end.
Okay. So yeah, so that's the main thing, and then we generally trade for food and such from the humans and other species, because, well, we certainly have a variety of things that we can eat here in the swamp. Something that like a pig or a cow. We don't have a lot of those here in the swamp, so those are kind of nice to bring in.
Okay. Do you guys like farm certain plants, perhaps, like a type of agriculture, like maybe something that grows on trees?
Oh yeah, well, not on trees, but there are some areas that are like hillocks that we grow various plants and stuff on. I personally don't know what their names are, because I'm not a farmer, I'm a shaman. They provide me with the food, I don't gather the food myself.
Wait,
yes,
sorry,
yes.
where do you plant those? Where?
So there are dry areas of the swamp, areas that are above water level, and a lot of times those are where we're going to build our tribes, and there'll be like small patches of farm. I'm not talking like huge fields or anything, nothing like that,
Yeah.
but like a farm that maybe is a couple meters across, kind of thing.
Ah, okay, that's fair. Like kind of like a garden farm kind of thing. Like what
Yeah.
some humans do, some in like really urban places.
Yeah. So like for us, plants are not a major part of our diet. Like meat
That's
is
fair.
the largest part of our diet, and plants are generally used as kind of like a garnish or like a little extra on the side.
Yeah.
So we don't need a
Okay.
whole lot of them.
Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense.
We've always got
So-
goblins raiding from the west, and there's elves to the east, so there's usually like some food around.
You also eat elves.
Oh god, yeah, why not? Elves are great. They're better than goblins. I mean, not that goblins are bad. You got to season them properly, but yeah, elves are way better than goblins.
Okay, fair enough. Well, that's at least good to know that you don't let things go to waste, basically.
No. I mean, that has caused a couple conflicts in the past with the elves, but that's to be expected. They're, you eat enough animals, and eventually they're going to start to get kind of grumpy about it.
Are you friends with some of those species though? Like some. Well, I know that you're friends with some humans, and we have, of course, a celestial fox from last week, which is Starlight. So, do you eat like some of their species? And do they know about this?
I mean, none of them have really asked me about it, but yeah, I think that they have a general idea. It's not like I've kept it a secret. I mean, on my Twitter bio, I mentioned that I'd love to have some people over for food for dinner. Like, it should be common knowledge.
They
I would think.
misunderstand that.
Oh, you think?
Yeah, but we can probably discuss more about that later. They would they'd probably know what you're talking about much later. Okay.
Oh, okay. But yeah. So generally, like, there's quite a few species that we have trade with, like the elves and the humans, and so when they come to the swamp to trade with us, they'll have a flag of trade with them, and then we know, hey, these are the ones that you trade with. But if they're like hunters or poachers coming into the swamp, free game, right? Come on.
Fair enough. That makes sense. They are there to like hunt down something that you hunt down, or they're there to hunt you guys. So that's free game. That's fine.
See, you get it. It's all good.
Okay, well, anyway, let's move on to the next question, which is, how different are the Fae tribes from the non-Fae tribes? Is it strictly just their worship of the Thalgorithm?
Okay, so I guess we should also clarify for everybody who's listening. I haven't actually used the term Fae tribe yet, but Fae tribe is what my subspecies of lizardmen is called. We're the Fae lizardmen, and that is because the Dark Swamp is very much infested with fairy magic and mana, and we have the elves nearby, and to the north there's actually like a couple fairy enclaves. So in general, we just became known as the Fae lizardmen. But yeah, there's quite a few differences. There's visual differences. For example, I mentioned that like we have grayscales naturally. There's across the mountains to the west, there's a desert tribe of lizardmen. They're a little bit more spiny, I guess you could say. Then there's the forest lizardmen, the geckos. Uh, yeah, we got a bunch of different tribes. The other swamp tribe is a little bit bulkier, a little bit more gator-like than us, and they tend to specialize in like water magic, whereas the desert tribe specializes in air magic, and the jungle tribe specializes in fire magic. Hey, fire magic! You know anything about
I
fire
feel
magic?
like
Of course you do.
a jungle and some fire magic shouldn't work together if you think about it.
Oh, okay. So the reason why they specialized in fire magic is specifically because of the jungle. It's always, raining in rainforest there. So they can't.
Ah,
So it's
okay.
actually very safe to use fire magic, in a
That's
rainforest
fair.
like that.
That's
Like
fair.
that
That's
shit
fair.
don't burn.
Yeah.
And then the forest tribe, they actually don't have any particular specialization like the rest of us do. They're just straight up whatever their classic shamanic magic is. I've heard that a couple of them also become druids, I think, but yeah.
Oh, okay. It's like well, not they don't specifically like manipulate nature, but they have more affinity with like the things around them, like herbs, perhaps, like for medicinal purposes, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, stuff like that. But also, yeah, they do actually have some control over plants. Like they can animate plants and
Ah,
such.
okay, I see.
But yeah,
That makes sense. Perhaps that may mean that they might also be able to have a certain, how should I say this, like a type of trade towards the humans who are constantly at wars with each other, at least from what I've read, like teaching
yep,
them
yep,
how
yep.
to like fix themselves up, basically like a medical school maybe.
Oh yeah. Quite a few of especially the forest tribes, they can specialize in healing magic and such. I've definitely heard that that's a thing that they do.
That's
Like I said,
at least, yeah.
they definitely go out and they're more well known in the world than as adventurers and such. So it's kind of like the forest tribe gives lizardmen a good vibe amongst the other species, whereas the other swamp tribe, unlike myself, the
Mhm.
other the green kind of gatory looking ones that I've mentioned before,
Yeah.
they actively hunt humans and such, and so they kind of give lizardmen a bad reputation, and so it all balances out.
Okay, that probably makes sense. They should. Some people should probably like clarify that at like a meeting or something. That might cause
Yeah,
some issues later on.
yeah, humans just hear lizardmen and they just kind of all assume that we're monsters. They don't understand that some of us are tradespeople, some of us are adventurers. It's all good though. Whatever. You
Well,
can't expect humans to understand the differences. They got those little mammal brains.
that's fair. I've encountered some humans who, well, as I said previously, demonize demons basically, or like my people. Oh, you control
Shameful.
fire? Bad. Bad
Bad,
creature.
bad, bad, bad.
Well, anyway, we can move on to the next question.
Mm-hmm.
Are there other tribes from around the world that you that you kind of already said that? Are there
Oh
other? Oh
no.
yeah, sorry. No. Are there other tribes from around the world who don't commune with the algorithm, and are they influenced in, or do they have like a different type of thing that they worship that's not the algorithm? Also, we need to clarify what the algorithm is because we probably didn't explain it enough.
Yeah, I haven't gone too much into my religious beliefs, but yeah. So Thalgorithm is the great swamp spirit that the various tribes of the Dark Swamp worship. I personally have a relatively close relationship with Thalgorithm, closer than most, and he's the one who blesses the tribes. He's the one who makes sure that the mana stones fall from the sky. At least that's what we believe. That's nobody's proven us wrong yet, and the other tribes, the other species of lizardmen, they do not worship Thalgrithm, to my understanding.
Okay.
He is a swamp spirit. Now, the other lizardmen tribe, the gator-looking ones who live in the swamps, they live in more kind of green, the kind of swamps that you might find on Earth. To
Yeah.
my understanding, they don't worship Thalgrithm, but perhaps the entity that they do worship is maybe an aspect of Thalgrithm that I don't know. I haven't really looked into it. Honestly, I don't really talk with them very much because they will happily eat other lizard men too.
Okay, okay. I see. So from what I gathered, so it's just, you said that there are 6 other tribes. That means there are
Correct.
at least 5 tribes that do worship the algorithm, and maybe the 6th one just worships them in a different way, or is it just like their own way of worshiping kind of thing?
Oh, no. So all 6 tribes, as far as I know, that are in the Dark Swamp, all worship Thalgorithim. It's the
Okay.
other subspecies of lizardmen outside the swamp, like the forest and the jungle and the desert. They're the ones that I don't believe worship Thalgorithim.
Okay, I see.
But within the Dark Swamp, yep, all the tribes worship Thalgorithim. There's one tribe, the Shadow Scale. I've never seen them at any of our particular worship sessions, but any of our big rituals during the year. But in theory, I believe that they also worship Thalgorithim.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. They probably just worship them in their own shadowy ways.
Well, let's hope so.
Well, there are people that like to like keep their religions like unknown to other people, and that's just how that's just how some groups are, I suppose.
Yep. But yeah, Thalgorithim is the swamp spirit who guides us all. He blesses us with greatness. He blesses us with a good hunt. I also happen to personally believe, as a VTuber and content creator, that he blesses my chances of people seeing my videos. So that's why whenever I put up a video, I say, "Please, Thalgorithim, please help my video be seen," and I pray to Thalgorithim.
Okay, that makes plenty of sense. Well, yeah. I suppose that's just something that your people would believe in, because that's just where it's localized. So yeah. Plus, considering that, seeing how you are basically like the leader, are you basically the leader of the belief, since you are the high priest?
Essentially, yes. It could be said that I've been the one who's been the most blessed by Thalgorithim, so I believe that all the other tribes have a great deal of respect for me. Yeah, as far as I know, they have a great deal of respect. I hope they have a great deal of respect for me.
Okay, so that essentially just makes you the Pope of the algorithm.
Wow, Pope, yeah. I mean, I guess I could get myself a big hat.
That'd be
I see
great,
that-
actually.
Yeah. Maybe I need to contact Starlight. Starlight can maybe hook me up with a big Lizardmen Pope hat at some point.
Starlight, can you do that? I'm sure you're probably in chat. Just hook up this lizard guy with a Pope hat, a lizard Pope hat. Thank you much. Okay. Anyway, let's move on to the next question, which is, the Thalgorism is the spirit of the forest. Is the forest spirit, right? Swamp
Nope.
spirit. Sorry.
Swamp spirit. Yep.
Swamp spirit. What goes into its worship, and are there rituals that have to be performed at a cycle, as a form of respect to it, like something that happens yearly, weekly, or whatever?
So there are 666 secrets to Thalgorithim,
Yeah.
and obviously they're secrets. So even we don't know exactly what they are, but it's
What?
believed that if you, yeah, I mean, come on, they're secrets. And if you uncover all the secrets that Thalgorithim has spread across the swamp and the world, then that increases your standing with Thalgorithim. So it's part of our tribe's religious beliefs that we need to gather those secrets.
Okay.
And I say my tribe, but really it's all the Fey Lizardmen aim towards that direction. So far, the most that any one individual has gathered, which, by the way, is not me again, this is an individual in the past, they are rumored to have gathered 237 secrets.
Okay.
But-
I see.
So, yeah, they are currently, they're dead now, but
Okay.
they were the one with the most. However, I had some special circumstances in my past that gave me a bit more blessing of Thalgorithim than most. So I personally have not discovered nearly that many of the secrets, and kind of jumped the line, I guess you could say.
Okay. So.
But yeah,
So you just gather secrets of the algorithm, like the Fey tribes does this.
correct. You can think of them in other religions. They might call them like sacred truths or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. But do you do anything that's like a type of festival, perhaps, to worship the algorithm, like in a certain way, like to celebrate the year that it was discovered or something like that?
Well, not one that was discovered, but yeah. We do have various festivals. There's Essentially, what amounts to it's kind of I want to say it's a harvest festival, but that's a weird way to say it. Um, but yeah, there's a time of the year where more mana stones drop than normal, and
Ah, okay.
during that time, that's a time of kind of bounty where we celebrate. We gather up the mana stones, we place them in the centers of the tribal villages, and all Fey lizardmen have a little bit of illusion magic. Not as much as the shamans, obviously,
Yeah.
but a little bit that they kind of inherently are able to use. And by gathering up all these mana stones in one place, we're able to essentially tell the stories of our ancestors and such by having the entire tribe create much more intricate illusions and depictions of the past than could otherwise be done. So that's a big
Oh.
celebration that we have. Essentially, an ancestral memory kind of vibe going. And during that time, we obviously worshipped the algorithm and gave him thanks for the past and the great bounty that we have.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's like I suppose if you convert this to Earth time, maybe around when would this happen? Supposedly.
I guess that would probably be closest to what humans would call Christmas.
Ah, okay, yeah, that
It's
makes sense.
Yeah, a big time of celebration where all the families and tribes come together and we celebrate and give thanks for the year kind of thing.
Okay, what's a term for this celebration, this festival? I mean.
Oh, it's the Remembrance Festival.
Ah, okay. That sounds really nice. At least there's something that the little lizard kids can look forward to, I suppose.
Yeah, and that's how we teach our tribal and our history to them.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Both educational and also very historical for the people. That's really good.
Yep.
We don't have that kind of thing in my world. We
Oh,
do
no.
have, but it's very corporate, I suppose. It's like these guys own the most things. They get to celebrate whatever the hell they want, and the rest of the people, we just have to like deal with it.
So where do you rank
not,
in that? You say the corporate people, aren't you? Are you
I
not a corporate
suppose-
people?
I suppose no, I don't actually like work for a particular company. I work independently, but I was kind of part of it for a while. But I
Wait,
realized
who's
that
funding Burning Questions then? Are you funding this
Oh.
out of your own pocket? This isn't some big corporate endeavor?
no. That's why it's so scuffed. That's why I don't have a new jacket, and this table sucks. I've been wanting to like I've basically like poured all of my funding just to fund like the green screen behind us right now. This table is what I use for like it's basically my dining table.
Oh wow. All right, going big budget here. That's nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I mean, it's a nice table, I guess. It looks decent.
It's sturdy enough. I'm trying to like contact a friend of mine who basically works as a fabricator. They're getting my new table. That's gonna get here soon, eventually. It's gonna take a
Okay.
while though, because you know how dimensional travel is. It's a pain, especially if you're like bringing furniture.
Yeah, I probably know more about that than most other lizardmen, just because I access the internet, which is not a common thing in our world. So I have to access the Earth's internet using the relic. Oh, the relic is a magical item that the algorithm led me to. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's something that people can probably put their minds to. But anyway, let's move on to the next question. Is there any conflict in the worship of the algorithm? Like, do some lizardmen perhaps feel hostile towards your people by worshiping algorithm in a different way from theirs?
Not that I know of. The closest that we would get would just be that Shadow Scale tribe that I mentioned, which is one of the Fey tribes that keeps very much to themselves, and they, in theory, I would expect that they would worship the algorithm, but like I said, I've never seen them. For example, they don't show up at the remembrance festivals of the other tribes and such.
Okay.
Like, they generally also don't intermingle with the other tribes. So if there was any hostility, it could be coming from them. But beyond that, no. The algorithm is the idea of not worshiping the algorithm as a Fey lizardman. That's just I
That
can't
is a
even
big
imagine
no-no.
that. Yeah, no, that's what? No.
Which is something that they shouldn't do. Okay, but That makes sense. It'd be kind of hilarious though if it turns out that one of two things is possible. One, it's that the Shadow Tribe is actually like what either you having a type of illusion magic that's so powerful that they're basically invisible all the time, or they just straight up don't
Uh-oh.
exist, and people just think that they exist.
I mean, well, okay. Well, I just had a what if the entire Shadow Scale tribe is just one big illusion?
Exactly. That
Whoa.
whole thing that we exist kind of thing is like an illusion from like some lizard man like I don't know like 40 or 100 years ago that just came up with it for some reason.
Well, 100 years ago, the Shadow Scale tribe was actually an enemy tribe of the Lizardmen. They were actually a hostile tribe that worshipped a big black dragon. But then the black dragon was run out of the swamp, and the remaining members of that cult of the black dragon, they were allowed to gather together and form a new tribe. And so they
Okay.
became the Shadow Scale tribe. So
Okay, so there is some history to this, like some history to their existence potentially.
yeah. They used to be a hostile tribe. Now they're an accepted member of the tribes. They're just kind of a little bit more, I don't know, maybe they're bitter at having their dragon god run out of the swamp. Who knows?
I see. Well, on the bright side, there are some, how should I say this? Like some history that we know that they existed at least potentially, but we don't
Yeah.
know where they are right now. So that's kind of sus, if you ask me. But at least we have some proof that they existed, like potentially.
Yep.
Uh, now let's move on to the next question, which is what does being a shaman entail, or like what type of things does a shaman do? Do they serve as a type of miracle worker to an extent, or are they just purely a religious leader?
Oh no, they act as the tribe's healers using their shamanic magics. They act as advisors for the chieftains.
Yeah.
There's, a shaman will generally wear multiple different kind of hats. They
Okay.
probably, yep. They, depending on the tribe, if they have the mana stones nearby, they'll help to kind of guide their fellow tribesmen to where mana stones are dropping. And I keep saying dropping. Have I explained that yet? Where mana stones, how mana stones pop up? I mean, I know that that's a little bit off topic, but did I explain that yet?
Actually, yeah. Just go ahead and explain it. It's in the question later, but I suppose we can I can just like work in this other question later. So we can explain like what works with the mana stones. I mean.
Okay, so the way that mana stones actually appear is the actual vines that cover the swamp. They're called Thorntail vines,
Mhm.
and my name kind of comes from them. But yeah, the Thorntail vines, they climb up the trees, and sporadically, randomly, and very very quickly, they will once in a while, just maybe a couple times a year, have a flower that will bud, and from
Okay.
that flower will form essentially like when the flower buds, there'll be raw mana in liquid form, and
Okay.
that raw mana will fall down to the swamp waters, and when it hits the water it solidifies and becomes a mana stone, or if it's small, it'll become a mana pearl.
Yeah.
And so
Okay. I see.
those trees, their branches that the vines and flowers are above, are generally pretty deep waters. So like the elves and humans, they can't just gather up these mana stones. It takes somebody like a lizardman to dive down into the waters and get the stones from the waters.
Okay.
And so when I say the mana stones like drop, that's what I'm talking about, when they drop from the flowers.
Oh, okay. So this liquid mana drops into the swamp water, the deep
Yep.
swamp water, right?
Yep. And when it hits the swamp water, it solidifies and becomes a mana stone.
Ah, okay, I see.
So
I
like for example, if some of that liquid mana dropped on solid land or solid ground, it would just
yeah.
eventually dissipate and vaporize. So there's no way for the other species to just easily get mana stones, because if they tried to catch it in a net or something, it would just eventually just dissipate. It's only the ones that fall into the deep waters that become mana stones.
Okay, I see now. And your tribe, the Blacktail tribe, is what
Yep.
This the closest to this deep part of water, right? That's why you are
Yep,
the
yep, yep.
most gifted,
Yep,
I suppose.
we've got the most thorntail vines around us. We've got deep waters around us. We're basically the best situated to gather up the mana stones.
Okay, I see. Well, I
Yep.
think we should probably like also explain about like your namesake. You're called Thorntail because it's a nickname from when you were younger, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I was trying to gather up one of those flowers after some of the liquid mana had fallen out of it. I just wanted to gather up the flower because I thought it was looking cool. So actually, I was with a bunch of other small, younger hatchlings. This happened when I was younger, and so I
Mm-hmm.
was climbing up the tree, and I slipped, and I fell out of the tree, and I fell into a big bramble of the thorntail vines, and had these thorntail vines wrapped around my own tail, and the other hatchlings started calling me Thorntail, and they did it to tease me. But you know what? That's the name of our home. That's the name of our vines. I decided I would make it my own name. And that's what I did. I took that name for myself.
Do you
And that's
believe
how I
in
became
the
Thorntail.
multiverse theory? Because thinking about it, there's probably a universe wherein there's a you there, but instead of
Mhm.
being called Thorntail, they probably call him Thorntail Tail.
Well, all right, that's interesting. I mean, I can see how you could get there. Thorntails wrapped around my tail. Thorntail
Potentially
tail.
somebody might
Wow.
have that
Enough.
Thorntail might have been okay with that name, and he just calls himself Thorntail Tail now.
Yeah.
Have you thought about
Across the
it?
infinite multiverse. I have never thought of that, but yeah, that I can see how that could possibly happen. Yeah. Yeah.
But going back to the stones, I don't think I've actually revealed this, but when I was younger, well, I there's actually a lot of plenty stuff I haven't revealed yet. But when I was younger, I used to do well two things. Well, one thing, but it okay whatever. It is jewelry making. I used to make
Okay.
jewelry like using the different stones we had available in the Fireworld, and of course because it was corporate run, that means the stones were very expensive. So I did what the best I could and just like paid for the cheapest stones we have, the weakest crystals we can get, and I started
Mm.
making jewelry out of it. Thing is that I didn't only like later did I realize that these stones actually do have some kind of power or meaning in them that some humans believe in. For example, the most common one that I could get my hands on is citrine quartz, and we actually have a lot of places like in the fire world that mine these stones, so they are fairly common. That's why they were very cheap when I was able to get them, and they weren't like
Gotcha.
corporized yet. So going on ahead, these stones, these citrine stones, are actually being used by some humans because they are believed to have some kind of property in terms of luck or money or wealth, that kind of thing. And
Interesting.
it just kind of astound me, like these views that these humans have to certain stones. One of them is of
Yeah.
course rose quartz, which is supposed to be a type of symbol of love, but I those things are expensive here, so I haven't really gotten my hands on them yet. Does the
Yeah.
Do you have like some views on that, like perhaps like certain stones that you guys possess? I know that you have a sapphire and an ember stone.
Well, so the sapphire stone that I have and the amber, which I don't have on me at the moment, but those are actually illusions that I use to cover up the fact that they're two very, very large mana stones that I keep for myself.
Okay.
But yeah, the sapphire, the sapphire illusion is actually in honor of a VTuber that I met once I got to the internet. Once I discovered
Oh.
this human internet, and I was like, hey, how can I interact with this internet? Like, how do I give myself a presence on this internet? And so I started looking it up, discovered VTubing, and I decided, like, hey, this is how I can interact with the human world. And one of the first I encountered was a VTuber named Sapphire. And so I decided to change the appearance of my Mana Stone to a sapphire in honor of her.
Okay, that makes sense. And for what about the amber stone?
Oh, the Amber Stone. So I saw a movie that I really liked when I first started my journey to exploring the
I
internet.
can see where this is going.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm sure you might have heard of this. Then it's called give me one here. I think it's called Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen those.
Yep. So I decided, hey, that's what I'll make the other stone look like, because, well, for one thing, these are illusions that change their appearance, but it doesn't change their structure. So like the one that's up here, the sapphire-looking one, is a crystallized bit of mana stone, and that helps to enhance illusion magic. And the amber, in real life, when I drop the illusion, it does still have an insect inside the mana stone, basically an insect that was caught in the liquid as it was falling down into the water, and when it's solidified. And mana stones that have dead animals in them like that, they're very useful for necromancy. So that's why I keep those around.
What happens? What happens when a magic, when that magic drip just okay, that sounds weird to say, when that magic drip from the from the flowers falls on a lizard then?
Oh, so it does like supercharge the Lizardmen briefly, but like I said, if they don't go in the water, it just dissipates. So
Okay.
it think of it like the biggest hit of, I think there's something called like monster drink or something on Earth, or maybe like coffee. It's like it's like the biggest hit of that.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Just get okay. That sounds so wrong though, because they're basically getting high on stones.
Yes, they're getting stoned.
They're getting stoned. Okay, is that a terminology you guys use, that when somebody gets hit by the liquid magic, they just suddenly quote unquote get stoned?
Yeah. I've heard that humans also have a similar term too.
I'm pretty sure it's different from their case.
Really? Really? Are you sure about that? I mean, it sounds kind of similar based on what I've heard.
It sounds
But
similar,
okay.
but it's not the same thing.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Still sounds hilarious to me. Okay, wait. Considering like how young people are, well, young creatures generally, like it's probably like global, that when something cool happens, a young human, young demon, young hatchling probably just wants to like go near it and probably touch it. So it probably might be a thing in one of the tribes when a drip starts to fall. The kids will just stumble over each other, just like touch it. So we're gonna have like stone kids just running around.
Oh
That's
my
a
God.
pain
No,
of
no,
the
no, no.
parents.
No, it happens so rarely when the mana stones do actually drop down into the water that, yeah, no, you can't just run
Okay,
over
that's
to it
good.
quick. Yeah,
But
no. Basic, yeah,
yeah.
the flowers bloom at night also, so
Okay.
so it's not something that generally happens. Like it's more of a case of like maybe if like a hunter is out hunting and they camp for the night, and then all of a sudden they're awake because they just got hit by like a monster energy drink in the face.
Okay. These stones are actually somewhat rare. So it doesn't just happen like every day kind of
Yes.
thing. But
No.
these things. Okay, I see.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're pretty valuable. That's why we only take the very best pigs and cows for them.
okay, that makes sense. Or take a lot of pigs and cows for them.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Quantity, quality. That's a thing that like some people, like some merchants, will argue over.
yep. Yeah, we've definitely encountered some humans like that around here.
But yeah, there's this other thing I wanted to like talk about, because I did say that I used to make jewelry. There's this one other technique that I didn't really discover. I did discover like naturally, but I only found out about it. That's this also what some jewelers do, which is but they do it with glass. I do it with metal. I have this like this very very tiny metal scoop thing. It's like a spoon, but it's more formed into a half dome thing. I started like melting metal in that one spoon with a blowtorch. If you were
Wait, is this?
if you were a human, you'd probably think it's very sussy, but uh
Yeah, it sounds like an ice cream scoop.
yeah, it was basically an ice cream scoop. I started melting this metal into it, and once I was What I used to do was I melted the metal, then I placed it in a cast, which is what a lot of blacksmiths I've heard, and also in your world probably do. But in my world, that's also what they do. They did. They place it in a cast to form an ingot. Thing is that I thought, huh, what if I don't put it in this cast, but I place it in a bucket of water? And it just started forming like these drips, and I think that's
Yeah.
probably like something similar to what occurs to your stones, wherein it forms a liquid, and as it hits as it hits water, it cools down so quickly that it solidifies.
Yeah, basically. In our case, are the waters of the Dark Swamp being kind of enchanted with fey magic. It's believed that that kind of fey magic that already exists in the water is what helps to solidify the mana stones.
Ah, okay, but this doesn't transfer over to like a floor, the ground perhaps.
No, it doesn't transfer over to the ground because, yeah, it'll just dissipate when it hits the ground. And also, in the past, some of the elves tried to steal our mana stones by essentially trying to grab the drops falling with buckets of water. And apparently, regular buckets of water that aren't from the swamp, they also do not trigger the solidification process. It's
Okay,
only the
but-
swamp water.
Okay, but like buckets of swamp water do work though, right? Potentially.
In theory? Yeah, in theory, yeah, they would work.
Someone needs to test this. I need to travel over there and try this out just because I just want to see what happens.
Honestly, we don't have a whole lot of buckets around here.
That's
Because
fair.
there's just water everywhere, so we don't really need bucket. So yeah, that's not really something we've ever really thought about testing.
I suppose like magic is also a thing, so you can just like transport magic, like transport water with like using magic, huh?
Yep.
Well, on the bright side, we there is like some how should I say this, like a way to secure your rights to the stones. Perhaps there might have been like some humans in the past that might have wanted to like steal the stones for themselves, like by force instead of trading them.
Oh yeah, we still have humans every once in a while that try to sneak into the swamp, and they've got their cute little swim trunks on and their diving suits, and they're trying to go down into the water and grab their mana stones, but usually they just end up being dinner.
For you or for the creatures in the swamp, or both?
Whoever gets there first. There's no, it becomes a fun race at that point, right?
I suppose, yeah.
Now I
burning
should
calories
clarify
while
the
running
black.
for dinner.
I should clarify, because we do a lot of trades with the humans and the elves. The Blacktail tribe, we generally don't eat the humans and the elves unless there's some heavy shenanigans going on. But there is another tribe, the Lotus tribe. Oh my goodness, they go out of their way to hunt humans and elves. They're
What are they called? The
Lotus tribe.
Lotus. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, they go out of the way to hunt humans. Yeah, we
Yep.
have those kind of types here also.
Yeah, they're very traditional. They believe that everything that isn't a lizardman is food. But yeah, the 6 tribes are Blacktail, Stoneclaw, Lotus, Bronzetail, Dragon's Eye, and Shadowscale. At least the 6 tribes that are in the Dark Swamp.
Okay, I see them. Can you run that by me again?
All right, there's the Blacktail tribe,
Okay, yeah,
the
your tribe.
Stoneclaw tribe,
Okay.
the Stoneclaw tribe, the Lotus tribe,
Uh-huh.
the Bronzetail tribe,
Okay.
the Dragon's Eye tribe,
Yeah.
and the Shadowscale tribe.
Okay, I see. Okay. I see what you mean. Yeah. Generally, well, like in a belief system, at least those other tribes have something do things similar to you, right? Like the
Correct.
the Blacktails, right? Except for you being the leader, which is the chieftain. I mean, sorry,
Yep.
high priest.
Head shaman.
Head shaman. Yeah, that's a term.
Yeah, head shaman. Yeah. So, yep. We all do things a little bit differently. Like the Stoneclaw tribe, they're heavily militarized. They're the ones that take the brunt of most of the goblin raids. The
Okay.
Lotus tribe is very traditional. They're the ones who believe in lizardmen superiority. There's the Bronzetail tribe. They do a lot of trading with dwarves. They live closer to the mountains.
Okay.
There's the Dragon's Eye tribe. That's the one that's being led by the adventurer that I mentioned
yeah.
before. And then there's, of course, the Sussy Baka Shadowscale tribe.
But we're not sure if they actually exist or still exist. But yeah, that makes plenty of sense. Also, while we were talking, there's this salamander like right on my window. That was hilarious. That happens very rarely. That there's also a salamander that just stuck on my window. I think it's gone now, but it was there. It just ate something. I don't know what it ate, but that was hilarious.
Yeah, very very tiny salamander sounds like.
Yeah, it's a tiny one. We don't get the big ones that often. You have to be rich to get the big ones.
Okay.
But yeah, it sounds really interesting, like how the magic of the swamp just like mixes with your people's daily lives. So
Oh
I'm,
yes,
I'm
very much so.
so I'm assuming that there are, of course, that means that y- there are people in the swamp. There are people in the swamp. That means there are also other things there. Like what other things exist in the swamp potentially that you guys hunt or see or whatever.
Oh,
Something like beings.
there's gators, there's snakes, there's leeches of variety of sizes, there's small little leeches, there's big leeches with teeth. The big leeches with teeth, those things are delicious. Seriously, those ones are some of the best. They are juicy, they wiggle. Oh, they are so good. Um, but yeah, and then towards the south and the southern aspect of the swamp, when we get closer to the jungle,
Yeah.
there's also a variety of dinosaurs that live near there.
Oh.
Uh, they're very similar to the dinosaurs on Earth, to my understanding. So you've got stuff like Tyrannus, I think they call it Rex on Earth. There's the
Yeah. Yeah.
Spinosaurus, all sorts of dinosaurs like that also live to the south near the jungles. The jungles have a lot of dinosaurs in them. The swamp, not quite so much for most of it, but most of the swamp, yeah, we've got leeches and we've got gators and snakes. Yep.
Okay, this gonna sound like
Fish.
very 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 out of context, but I actually just recently was discovering like some facts about like the different animals in the dimensions, and I discovered like some animals are actually like very very dense to the point where they walk on the floor of where they are at. One of these animals is the hippo, which we don't have in the fire world, but they exist in Terra. They are so dense that they don't swim. They just run on the floor and they just yeet themselves out the water if they need to.
we
Can you guys do that potentially, or like is there species that can do that? Because that sounds one dangerous, but also very interesting. And to gather those crystals, of course.
Oh, okay. So we do have a species of crab that crawls along the bottom of the swamp, and they're kind of one of our main competition for the stones, as they'll eat the stones if we don't get them fast enough.
Ah,
But nothing like a hippo. That sounds like a weird creature. That doesn't sound like a normal creature. Nothing like I don't know. That sounds more
yeah.
like a chimera or a dragon. Something
Yeah,
a little bit more
it's
crazy
very
than just
big,
normal.
and it only has, if I could
Really,
recall
like
that
dragon size?
it not that actually the head of a dragon, perhaps like that entire head of a dragon, that's like its entire body, and it's like big and
Wow.
chunky, and it only
I'll
has
have
like
to look
4
this up
teeth
later.
if I recall, and like it has
Four-
teeth the size of daggers.
4 teeth. So, all right. I like want to ask more
It's
about
hella
this creature,
weird.
but I feel like that's so off topic. All right. So yeah. No, we do not have hippos in my world. We do not have hippos in the swamp, at least. Maybe they exist elsewhere, and I just don't know about them. But yeah, as far as big creatures walking across the bottom of our swamps, those would be a species of crab that eats the mana stones and crushes them up and digests them.
Okay, well, I suppose that those crabs aren't really sentient, huh? Like they're not
No,
intelligent
they're
at
not.
least. Okay, that's good.
No.
Have you tried eating them? Because they sound kind of magical tasting.
So, we do occasionally eat them, but they're generally one of the things that we don't hunt that often just because they are big, dangerous, tough. They're deep down in the water. There's easier things to eat like snakes and fish and gators. Hell, even the
Yeah.
occasional like dinosaur is easier to get to than those crabs.
Okay, you saying that means that you have eaten a dinosaur, right?
Oh yeah. Especially like I visited the Dragon's Eye tribe, and they had a feast that had a big T-Rex as part of the feast.
Oh, that actually sounds kind of cool. That actually sounds amazing. What do it taste like? Like, what kind of food did it probably taste like? I'm just saying that if, because I did read up about that, how how reptilians generally have weaker taste buds compared to herbivores. So were you actually like, do you usually like spice up your food maybe?
No, we don't generally just spice up the food. I mean, maybe that's true. I can't really say because I don't have a herbivore's taste bud, so I can't really compare it to them. But
That's
I
fair.
mean, for the most part, we don't eat for the flavor. We eat to be full.
Sustenance. So just sustenance.
Yeah, I mean, there are certain things that we like the flavor of more than others. For example, like I said before, like a human is going to taste better than an elf is going to taste better than a goblin is going to taste better than a gator is going to taste better than a snake is generally going to taste better than a fish, but you know, whatever, it all goes in the belly in the end.
Okay, I'm just trying to like think about that hierarchy of like things that taste better than each other. I would say that the snake tastes better. I agree with the snake tasting better than the fish, but I don't believe that snake tastes better than the gator. I've tried both, and I've tried both personally, and I do think that the snake tastes better. But
Well,
there is
maybe
like,
that's also personal preference.
I suppose that makes sense. Yeah, I have tried gator though, but I tried it cooked in a way that it's like chopped up into tiny
Oh,
bits and stir fried. That
oh
was
yeah,
great.
I've
That
heard.
tasted so good.
So you do like that whole human thing where you actually cook your food?
You don't cook your food?
Hell no, that takes no. Why would you do that? That no, you're gonna destroy it.
It's easy
No,
to
no,
eat.
no. Okay. I think that might be another thing where we maybe differ in opinion a little bit. No,
Fair
no.
enough.
We do not cook our food. I mean, we usually kill it. It
Yeah.
isn't required, but yeah, no, we do. I mean, fire. No, we don't use fire here in the swamp to cook our food.
Okay, fair enough.
It-
Okay. Okay, but have you done like some research on the Terran cultures though?
Yeah. I mean, what I've seen on the internet and stuff, like I know that humans have like really tall like temples, like sky temples, skyscrapers or something. They
Yeah.
have cars, they have mecha. I know that humans
Okay,
have all
okay.
kinds of cool stuff that we don't have here.
Okay, but there is at least this one culture in the eastern part of Terra that Japan, that one island that a lot of humans want to go to because they produce like entertainment for them. But
Oh yeah.
this one place that I was like looking at, they serve a type of fish that is specially cut up, but they eat this fish raw. So that makes sense to me. But do you guys like cut up your food at least, like using some kind of knife, or do you just straight up eat like just the flesh of it?
Oh, it depends. Sometimes we'll just eat it straight up. Sometimes we'll use knives. It depends on like what the situation is. That varies a lot. Like something like a smaller fish, we'll just toss those in our mouth. We won't even kill them necessarily. That's just fine.
That's fair.
Um,
I have done that also before, but like with a really really tiny fish, not like what I'm assuming is your size, which is like what, like like a size of my hand perhaps.
oh yeah, something like that size. We'll just toss them in our mouth. But like a gator will use knives to kind of cut up because they do have thick scales, and yeah, we can chew through them with enough time. But that's just you're not gonna eat the scales anyway. So yeah, like something like that we'll chop up. But other things like a snake, you can just eat that. Just take bites out of it. It's fine.
Okay, the snake though, the way I have actually eaten it is I've tried both. I've tried eating it raw and ate it like a bit, how should I say this? Cooked. But like I forgot how I ate it though. But I just noticed like a bit fried. Have you guys tried like cooking? I mean, eating like cooked food though, because I feel like that's a thing that
No,
somebody might have tried at some point.
no, that's. I mean, don't get me wrong. I imagine that like maybe amongst the forest tribe that spends more time with humans, I imagine that there are some lizardmen, like the leader of the Dragon's Eye tribe, the adventurer that I told you about. He's probably tried some of that cooked food, but personally, me, no.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I suppose that makes sense. But no, yeah. I suppose that's just what you guys do, wherein you just eat things raw, right? Wait, how about
Yep.
preservatives though? Do you preserve your food, or do you just like don't need to?
Well, we do preserve our food sometimes by just like putting it in the water.
What?
So yeah,
Like
haven't you
how?
ever tried that? You can preserve food in the water. I mean, it doesn't preserve it for a super long time, but if you remove the oxygen and such from the food, because there's going to be a little bit less oxygen in the water, it it helps to preserve the food a little bit longer. I mean, we don't need to preserve it for like weeks or anything. We preserve it for an extra day or two.
Ah, okay, okay. If it's like for an extra day or two, that makes sense. That makes sense. But like, uh, we
No, we don't preserve food for like multiple weeks or anything like that.
okay, that makes sense. There are other species I've heard that can preserve food for years. Actually, we
Oh,
have some food in my world that we can preserve for, well, basically forever. But I've tried that food. It's not pleasant. It can make me
is
full,
it?
but I'm not gonna enjoy it.
Speaking of Japan, that sounds like some of that stuff I've heard about, like ramen or something. Preserve that
Ah,
stuff forever.
yes, yeah, yeah. If there, but the way that works is that if there's no water in it and it just lasts forever.
Oh, okay.
Well, on the bright side, at least now we basically did like a miniature episode for Waifu's Weekly, where we learn more about your we learn more about like Lizardmen and like how they live their lives. But we should still
Yep,
probably do a
yep, yep.
future episode, a proper episode next time. Okay, well,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
suppose we've talked about that more enough. We can move on to the next question, which was over here. Are there interactions between What are the interactions between humans, elves, dwarves, and others towards lizardmen? Is it generally positive, passive, or hostile?
Oh, that varies a lot. So it depends on the nation. For example, there's a nation to the east called Shampir.
Yeah.
I believe that they have it on their laws that lizardmen are like a sentient species. We're allowed to walk in their cities, but generally, the further away from human you get in Shampir, the more discrimination you experience, from what
So
I've
you're still
heard.
so you even if they're allowed to like walk around, they are still discriminated against. Huh.
Yes, yes, in Shampir. In the free states, there is a little bit more freedom, and it kind of depends on which state you're in. Some are going to be a little bit more hostile to lizardmen, some aren't going to be. The ones that are generally closer to the other swamp tribes that I've mentioned, they're
Mm-hmm.
generally going to be more hostile to lizardmen in general. Um, some of the ones that have dealt more with, say, the forest tribes are going to be more friendly and open to lizardmen. So there it kind of depends. And then there's the nation of Benicia, which is very open to basically what a lot of the humans would call like monster species, like lizardmen. The nation of
Okay.
Benicia is its aristocracy is all vampires, and so they are
Ah.
very much more open to non-human species.
Okay, I see that makes sense. That it's just like a per case to case basis, and it also changes depending
Yep.
like what kind of exposure they had, I suppose.
Hmm. Yep. And as far as like the dwarves, they trade a lot with the Bronze Tail tribe. So, to my understanding, dwarves actually have a pretty good relationship with lizard men. And as far as elves, we have kind of a love-hate relationship with them. They're our closest neighbors. They trade a lot with us. They have similar types of magic to us, but we've had numerous conflicts with them. So that kind of goes depending on the day of the week.
Okay, that makes plenty of sense. Uh, I've see well because the world I'm in, we have already been using like um dimensional travel like normally now, so that we have plenty of beings from other universes. Maybe we have a lizard man, we might have a lizard man at some point in history, but I just don't know about this. But that being said, the relations between like different species and some parts of the city isn't too positive, and some it's
Right?
overly positive. It like one example is of course a stone elemental. We have had something. we have had like those creatures visit us. I mean, we had those people visit us, but the first ones that came
Wow, calling them
here.
creatures.
Well, I
Your
well I
fellow
call myself a
elementals.
creature. We're all
Harsh. All
creatures.
right. All right. All right. All right. All right.
But yeah, when they first visited us, they sent out like they still thought that we were similar to like the fire people on the other side of the planet, where we only like worship strength. So to show that they were not to be trifled with, they just start chucking stones at everything. It's like, yeah,
Great. I love that.
you they were a bit aggressive until they realized that, one, we were technologically advanced, two, stone doesn't do crap against metal. So when we saw them, we thought that they were just barbarians, until some guy finally like finished creating the language translator, and it started like pointing out like, oh, that's just what you do in your culture. Ah, okay, it's like a form of greetings for some reason.
Yep. Yep.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Throws a rock at you.
Yeah, I'd say that relations with the other species have definitely improved over the last 100 years. To my understanding, more than 100 years ago, lizardmen were just straight up seen as a monster species by the other
Yeah.
species. But that black dragon that I mentioned before that got ran out of the swamp,
Yeah.
there was a coalition of various species, elves, dwarves, humans, and lizardmen, who helped to drive that dragon out of the swamp. And so after that, the relations with lizardmen improved quite a bit.
Did the dragon die?
I don't think so. No.
Okay, because I was about to ask if somebody if the dragon probably died, one of your people probably ate it.
Yep. Nope. Nope. As far as I know, the dragon just flew off. So don't ever know what happened to it.
Okay.
Maybe the people of the Shadow Scale tribe would know, but who knows? Like
Who
I said,
knows
they
if
don't really
they're
talk about it
there,
anymore.
Talked about it, or even knows where they are. But yeah, I've seen like some people are more accepting of like reptilians generally.
Yep.
Well, one of the preferred species I've seen is, of course, like ones that are like, for example, like the preferred species I've seen online, and I also agree with, is of course lamias. Are
Oh,
there
yep.
like, do you guys have like a lamia species in on your world? And are they
They're
probably viewed similarly, huh?
Yeah, they're gonna be, well, not Lamia specifically, but there's a species to the east, in the ocean that are called Naga.
Ah, okay, I know
They're
exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah, they're a semi-aquatic species, and I believe that they can actually breathe water, and they look kind of like humanoid snake-ish, I guess. So, yeah, Naga.
Okay. Well, but yeah, there's probably like some humans that do believe that they are more physically attractive, is the word I'm gonna use for this.
That the humans themselves are more physically attractive, or
they're physically attracted to certain reptilian species. They probably some of them probably view lizardmen as good looking.
Oh,
Just
that's
saying.
I have encountered those on Earth's internet.
Yeah.
The furries and scalies. They may exist in our world. None of the traders that have visited our tribes have displayed those interests, and as far as I know, no members of our tribe have an interest in humans.
That's probably
way.
a good thing, honestly.
But I do understand that there are definitely humans who share those interests.
That makes plenty of sense. But
And you know what? They're welcome to watch all of my content.
Exactly. Just watch this big lizard man's content. Just plugging that in there. on YouTube, of course. So everyone on YouTube right now, please check him out. Going back, going back to the questions. These last four questions are relating to you specifically. So we're gonna start with:
Oh,
are you the first user of the artifact, and did the algorithm teach you how to use this artifact? Of course.
okay. So the relic, yes. As far as I know, I'm the first user of the relic. Thalgorithm led me to it deep in the swamp, and the relic is what I use to access the internet. And it was buried under some moss. So if anybody else has used it before me, I don't know who they are. Uh, yeah, maybe another Lizardmen shaman in the ancient past. I don't know, but as far as I know, I'm the first user of it. I might be the only user of it. Maybe Thalgorithm put it there when the swamp was first created, for all I know. So I am the sole. I'm the only Lizardman that I know of who has access to the internet, at least from my world. According to what I've seen from other VTubers, there are a couple other Lizardmen VTubers from other worlds who also access the internet. So I don't know if the relic is something that maybe there's a relic on every world. Maybe Earth itself has a relic that just hasn't been discovered. I don't know.
I suppose that makes sense because considering my world uses something very, very, very similar, but we don't use it as a communication device. We use it as a teleportation device. Our communication devices are a bit, you know, high tech enough to communicate with others. So we only use it like as a way to like transverse places. And of course, the company that owns it wants to charge you every penny and dime for like one teleportation, which sucks.
Yeah, the relic that I have, I've mainly been using it to access the internet at this point, but I know that it can do some type of portal magic because I've ordered stuff on. So the humans have a website called Amazon,
Ah,
and I've been able to get stuff from Amazon, creating small portals. So I know that the relic can do portal technology. I just haven't. I mean, I've been using the relic for a little while now, and I've
mhm.
only been recently using it to try and do this portal stuff. So I'm sure that it can create much bigger portals in the future. And one of my goals someday is maybe even towards the end of this year would be to go to Earth and maybe visit someplace like Japan. But
Okay, that's nice.
but but I'm still working on the portal magic. But I believe that the relic can probably do that.
Well, that probably means that your theory is right, that every world probably has a similar device that some VTubers might have gotten access to. But you said earlier that there were other Lizardman VTubers. Do you who do you know that other other Lizardmen from other worlds have? Because I haven't seen one others yet except you.
Yeah. There's Ixiali, the lizard man. He's a blue lizard man. There's
Ah,
Gelb. He has a human that he works with as a VTuber, and he is a red lizard man. Yeah,
okay.
those are. There's also another gentleman, another lizard with the name Lizard Guy, and he's interesting. He's got a big frill. So not the same way that like the forest tribe has on my world. It's more like
Yeah.
I think they were called Dilophosaurs in Jurassic Park. A big kind of frill around their neck like that.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
I know. Okay, I see what you mean. Okay, I see what you mean now. Okay,
yep,
I
yep, yep.
get it.
Yeah, so there's at least 3 other Lizardmen VTubers that I know of, and none of them look quite like me. None of them are from my world, but yeah. So I assume that they have something similar to the relic.
Okay, yeah. So that's probably like what they're using as a communication device. That makes sense. Okay. Well, next off, this is already a question which you basically answered earlier, which is the um where did you find the magic stones that enhance your magical power? Of course, we already explained that came from the drip that comes from the flowers, right? The flowers from
Yep,
the Thorntail thing.
vines. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, the vines.
Normally, yep, and they're generally going to be spherical, and if they're crystallized in more like a crystal shape, then they enhance one type of magic. Basically, the shape and coloration, because there can actually be different colors of mana stones too, and the different shapes and colors will enhance different types of magic. And normally they're going to be relatively small, maybe about the size of like a golf ball. The two that I have on
Okay.
me, like this sapphire that I have, is quite a bit bigger than normal. Like I'm a 6'6" Lizardman, so this may look like it might be golf ball size, but comparatively, it's a little bit bigger than that.
Way yeah, I can see what you mean. And then the what's it called, the amber one that you have is also okay. That makes sense. So yeah, the volume of the volume, just the sheer volume, just thinking about like how much of that drip just falls out of the flower. Wait, how big are these flowers first in the first case?
Oh, the flowers are huge. The flowers are okay, so I'm gonna use what's the American measurement system because that's the one that I'm thinking of off the top of my head.
Sure.
They're probably about 2.5, 3 feet across.
What? Okay, that is huge. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, wait. So how big are the vines?
Oh, the vine. So the vines are maybe about as thick as a person's arm, as a human's arm, and they're all over the place.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Okay, that makes
now
sense.
that's the vines that are going up in the trees.
Yeah.
When they're younger and they're creating kind of like bramble patches on the ground, they're gonna be much thinner. They're gonna be more like finger sized in thickness, and those are the
Okay.
ones that I had wrapped around my tail.
Okay. That makes more sense. I've done like some mild traveling, and there are some like places that we do have some jungles here on the Fire World. And yes, I know that sounds kind of weird, but we do have like some types of plant life that can survive, and I've seen like vines like similar to how you discussed, but like not as thick, but I've seen like how strong they are generally, and seeing how you lizard people are generally bigger, stronger, heavier, definitely. That must have probably taken your whole weight and still not have broken. That is amazing.
Yep.
Dang, the plant life there is just really strong. I should really like go over there and like do some research on that world. That sounds amazing.
I mean, I think we have a pretty great world over here. It's
Yeah, it sounds great.
There's no place else that I know of like this, like the dark swamp that I live in. And like
No
I said,
place like home.
well, I call it the dark swamp because that's what the other species call it. But amongst our tribes, it's actually called the Thorntail swamp.
Yeah, okay.
It's actually
okay,
named after the vines.
okay. Well, I suppose it does make sense. There are like some. It's kind of funny, like how some places are like called something just because that's the most popular term, but even if the people who live there called by something else. Like
Yep.
one example is of course what we spoke of earlier, Japan. In locally it's known as Nippon, but probably like some people from the west just couldn't pronounce it and just said Japan. Okay, close enough.
Yep, probably. That sounds about right. Humans, like I said before, humans don't really necessarily have the biggest brains, so.
Yeah. Well, actually my world has the same issue. We call it the fire. We call it generally we call it the fire world just because of what we have here, which is fire. But then we don't exactly like have a specific term for the world. We just call it, well, our world. And then some humans, some of our people like came over to Earth and just screwed over some humans. Some humans managed to go over here and they started calling it like the underworld, but we're not actually above or below. We're like some other place. Some people call it
humans.
hell. Those kinds of things.
I
It's
don't
weird.
know. Next time we get some traders in the village, I'll actually ask them if they have a special name for our world. Because amongst our tribe, we don't really think about that, like what the world outside the swamp would be called.
It's just
That's interesting.
It's just our place. We don't care about everything else.
Right.
It's just our place.
Exactly. So I'm gonna have to ask them next time they come if they have a name for this world.
Well. I suppose that's just like how humans want to categorize everything. Like these guys are that guys. Those things are these things. It's really dumb sometimes. Well. Regardless, let's move on to the second to the last question. We forgot to mention that you encountered a necromancer. Okay, can we get a quick rundown of the necromancer story first? Because I'm pretty sure people here don't know what we're gonna talk about. If we can straight up just head to the necromancer part.
Well, I mean, it's not generally something that I just bring up in casual conversation. But
Yeah.
yeah, so when I was younger, there was a lich actually that I found who had kind of set up shop in the swamp while I was out exploring, doing my Lizardmen youth.
This was before you became the head honcho of the religion, right?
Correct. I had
Okay.
started on my path learning how to become a shaman by this point, and I encountered a lich out in the swamp. And this lich, he instructed me. Well, let me start up. He told me that he could instruct me in necromancy, which I thought sounded great. Illusion magic plus necromancy sounds awesome. Let's do it. So I became his disciple. He was very cool, very helpful, taught me a lot of magic, a lot of necromancy. But I discovered one day that he was actually using all of the Blacktail tribe as spell components for a ritual that he was going to bind Thalgorithm. Obviously, this was a problem. So I attacked the Lich. And the Lich and his minions promptly, well, it didn't go well. I lost.
Oof.
So yeah, I was starting to get eaten on by ghouls. I lost. It was not great.
Okay.
But fortunately for me, it turns out that as the most magically inclined member of our tribe, I was a necessary component of this ritual that he was trying to perform to capture Thalgorithm. So he had to immediately start the ritual unprepared, because as soon as I died, he needed to get going right then. And because he hadn't had enough time to fully prepare everything, Thalgorithm was not fully bound by his spell, by his ritual, which meant that Thalgorithm was free to resurrect me. And at that time, Thalgorithm put a bit of his power into me, and I was then able to defeat the Lich. And that's what I was talking about earlier, that I have a bit more blessing from Thalgorithm blah, blah, than most of the Lizardmen do.
Yeah.
Because he directly resurrected me. And because of that, I was able to defeat the Lich and save the tribe. And really save Thalgorithm. But he more than thanked me back by, resurrecting me and then proceeding to lead me to the relic.
Okay. Okay, I see that's the rundown of the of the lore of the story of your encounter with the Lich.
Yep.
But I want to ask earlier was, have you ever used your necromancy magic on a fellow lizardman, like to bring them back if something bad has happened to them, like they've died or got an accident or something similar?
Oh, no. This isn't like... So if I were to try and heal Lizardmen, that would be using my shamanic magic, which I'm not very good at, honestly.
Okay.
If somebody actually dies and I use necromancy on them, that would bring them back as basically a zombie Lizardman. Which is fine in Lizardmen society. We're not all precious about undead like humans are. But I personally am not very skilled in necromancy yet, so anytime that I summon a skeleton or a zombie, they tend to only stick around for a couple hours before they fade away. So
okay.
So yes, sense. I have used it. I have experimented with it. It has not provided any lasting results at this time.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, I actually just realized this, like, while you were discussing your encounter with the Lich, but you are the only shaman in your tribe right now, right?
Correct.
And that is due to other shamans not being born within the tribe.
Correct. There are other shamans in the other tribes, just not ours.
Okay. Well, I just want to say, that sounds kind of sussy. Because, let's see, you are the only shaman in the tribe. You are by far the most powerful person in the tribe, probably the most powerful person in your tribal society, like compared with the other worlds, right? I mean, with the other tribes, I mean. That makes you the most powerful person. That is also due to your tribe's affinity for having really powerful shamans, due to your proximity to the magical stones. So
Yep, that
combining
does help.
all this, that sounds kind of sussy you that you also have that you are the only shaman in your tribe. It almost sounds like that there's magic things going on that's preventing other shamans from being born. Care to comment on
No
that?
comment.
No comment
No,
on you
no,
being
no,
the
no,
most
no.
powerful being coming from the most powerful tribe known for powerful shamans, but also being the only one for some reason. That sounds
Strange,
kind of
strange,
sussy.
strange coincidence. It's a coincidence. I'm sure. I'm sure it's just a coincidence.
Somebody
Yep, yep,
should
yep.
call the
Coincidence.
police equivalent of your of your tribe.
I am the police in my tribe.
Oh no, that's some 1984 shit right there. Big brother is always watching. Big lizard brother is always watching.
Thorntail sees all.
Thorntail sees all.
I mean,
Dang.
I'm sure it's just a coincidence. Nothing to worry about. I'm sure that we'll have some more younger lizardmen born in our tribe soon. But honestly,
If you're still alive, I'm not sure about that.
I'm kind of like half joking around about this, but yeah, like shamans aren't like super common. I should say that right out of the
Okay.
gate. The tribe with the most shamans right now is the Lotus tribe, and they have 3 shamans.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I thought it's like a council of like 10 or something.
No, 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 no. Most of the tribes generally have 2 shamans. A couple like ours have 1, and then yeah, the Lotus tribe has.
Okay, okay.
So yeah, we're not super common.
That's a big like clarifying thing because it felt kind of sussy earlier.
No, 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 no. I'm not running around killing hatchlings. I mean,
Okay, you're the one who
I
said
mean,
it, not me.
right, right, right. I mean, if they're getting too tired, I'm not opposed to tossing them into the water to wake them up. But that's about the extent of it.
Okay, if they're too tired, just let like one of those droplets like fall on them and let them get supercharged.
Oh, that would be a waste of a good mana stone. But yeah, we can do
True,
that.
true. Okay.
I mean, I'd rather have the pigs and cows we get from the mana stone than a hyped up kid for a couple hours.
That's fair. And a hyped up kid is not a great thing for anyone.
Nope, 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 nope.
Okay, well, let's go with the last question. But this isn't really a question
Ooh.
for you, but it's a general question. Do you know any nagas that are cute, hot, and you can hook me up with on a date?
Yes.
Hey, okay,
Nagas,
perfect.
Nagas specifically?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Lamias, nagas, any cute,
Oh, yes,
cute,
yes.
cute monster girls that you can probably like hook me up with?
Yep. There's at least one that I met through VTubing. I can definitely hook you up with them. Do you
Hell
want to do
yeah.
that in DMs later, or what do you want to do here? How do you
Hell
wanna do
yeah,
that?
DMs. DMs.
All
man.
right.
I don't want to
DMs
mix
it is.
business with pleasure right now.
All right. Yeah. I know some.
Well, anyway, that's been all of the burning questions. How did you enjoy your time on burning questions, being interviewed for your world and life as a lizardman?
It was great. You definitely asked some questions that I wasn't expecting. So,
Exactly.
I wasn't
That's what we
expecting one
do
about
here.
the Remembrance Festival. I didn't know you'd be interested in our holidays.
Hell yeah, I'm interested in like everything about like different peoples and creatures. That's why I started this thing to like showcase people's worlds and let them show like what kinds of lives they live like behind the monster or the creature or the person or the dragon and so on.
Yeah, I'm used to getting called a monster. I've just started accepting because most of my audience is going to be humans on Earth. I've just accepted
Yeah.
that I'm a monster VTuber. I've heard some
Yeah.
people refer to me as like a scaly VTuber, but I think of myself more as a
Oh.
monster VTuber.
The scaly V2, right? That had some different connotations, like why some people are proud at the same time don't want to be called a furry VTuber. It's a huge thing. But anyway,
Yep.
let's
I've
go
had
on
to correct
the
a few people.
Yeah, let's go on with the questions from the people viewing. Let's see. Sniper earlier asked, weird question. Do lizards taste good? Lizard men, I'm assuming he means.
I'm gonna go ahead and just say no for my own safety.
Okay, so you eat every other species except other lizard men. Maybe.
Uh, I mean, we have eaten a few fellow lizardmen from time to time whenever there's like an intertribal battle.
Ah,
Because otherwise that would just be wasteful of good meat. But yeah, just for my own safety, I'm gonna say we didn't like doing it. It tasted
okay.
horrible. Nobody should ever try it.
Okay. You know those things contradict each other, right? Just saying it tastes horrible and also we didn't do it.
Shh, shh, let it happen. Shh, shh. It's okay.
Okay, well, anyone else in chat got any questions? Just looking through chat. Let's see. Trial by combat, is that a thing that some tribes do?
Yes, yes, it is a thing that some tribes do. Absolutely. Especially the Lotus tribe, which is going to be the more traditional tribe. They will happily do trial by combat. They're the most common. The ones that do it the least are our own tribe because, well, they just do whatever I tell them.
Yeah.
Yep. And then also the Bronze Tail tribe doesn't really do that. They have a pretty strict, rigid system,
Like
thanks to their
kind of thing.
yeah, thanks to their interactions with the dwarves. They've accepted a lot of dwarven culture. They're weird like that.
Okay, so they deal with what's it called? Monarchy, right? Probably.
Yep.
Okay.
Now they still need to prove themselves that they're worthy, but no real trial by combat. Nothing too extreme.
Okay,
At least not that
makes
I know
sense. Okay. Well, I don't think there are other questions in chat right now. Well, wait, hold on. Will the planet be lifting its ban on eldritch beings from outside? What? Okay. There's a question by Heavy Metal Gaming Free, which is, will
Oh,
the
God.
planet be lifting its ban on eldritch beings from outside of the dimension? What does he mean?
So
by
I
that?
should clarify. Long ago in the history of our world, this is an ancient saga that I've heard
Yeah.
between the gods and the eldritch beings. And the gods won and drove out the eldritch beings and created a seal around the world, preventing eldritch beings from entering our world. This happened
Okay.
long time ago. I've never heard of any eldritch beings breaking the seal, so I'm guessing it's still going strong. I personally don't have a way to break this seal. If anybody would know how to do that, that would be the great and mighty Thalgorithm, but I've never asked.
Okay, fair enough. That makes sense. Actually, while you were we actually potentially had an eldritch being on the show, which was my friend Jakela. After like some deliberation, I discovered that she doesn't possess that much things that's known as being dragon-like. She has more things that's actually more eldritch being-like, which is possessing
Oh,
massive amounts of powers, having a true form that no one's allowed to know about or see. She hasn't even revealed her real name to. Wait, no, she has. It's still a bit unclear if that's her real name, of course. But yeah, all those
that,
things combined, she is pretty much an eldritch being, and she just in all but name at this point.
yeah, that sounds like an eldritch being to me.
Yeah, so just want to point out that she's probably banned from going to that dimension since knowing
Yep.
because her story is that there's like a government that prevents the quote unquote dragons from going to to different worlds. Probably that's a world that's banned either by them or by the creatures or gods living on your world. So it's just how they connect somehow. It's just a coincidence, I suppose.
Now, thinking about it, in theory, the relic that I have, it can create portals to other dimensions, so that could be a way to either let eldritch beings in or for me to go to another world where eldritch beings exist. So I guess it is theoretically possible if the relic maybe can do it, but I myself can't do it.
I suppose that's just the algorithm's will that we just have to say.
Yep.
Well, anyway, I think that's the end of it. We have no more questions, and that's about it. How'd you enjoy your time in Burning Questions? You you had a fun time?
Yeah, yeah, good, good. Like I said before, like I wasn't expecting some of those questions about like the Remembrance Festival and such.
Hell yeah. Okay. Let's see. Okay, we have enough viewers to raid someone on Twitch. Who shall we raid? Woo, Geekish Senpai is on.
Raid.
We
Who
could
is?
raid Geekish.
Oh, okay.
It's been a while, and I don't think I've actually rated her like ever. Anyway, let's start the raid. And to everyone watching, I hope y'all had a fantastic time learning about this lizard man's abilities. So if you want to learn about a Viking who survived all the way until today, please tune in next week because next week we are going to interview the old, the strong, the mighty Lieutenant Blythe, a great friend of mine and possibly my boss in the future. But that's all for all of you to decide. So please come by almost exactly like 1 week from now if you want to see that burning questions episode. So please everyone, I hope you have a great day. Bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.